Good evening. My name is Nicholas Lamar Suter, and this is In Time. We're covering a number of pretty serious things going on. The first we'll start with is a earthquake. We believe it was a 7. It's been registered either 7.8 or 7.9 that hit southern and central Turkey. We believe there have been other earthquakes after that. It looks like perhaps another earthquake, 8.3, striking in Iraq. We reported several days ago when there were the strikes in Iran that Iran had an earthquake. Earthquakes are not uncommon in these regions, but it strikes me as being a bit more than usual. Having said that, the earthquake is believed at this point to have caused the loss of thousands of lives. We're going to cover that in a minute. We also have something else that's rather urgent. The East Palestine, Ohio, we discussed had a train derailment of liquid chlorine gas. Over 100 cars derailed. It struck a gas station of all things, and there was a pretty spectacular fire. We aired that yesterday. We discussed it yesterday. It looks now like there is a tanker there, that the temperature inside the tanker has been increasing, and they believe there's going to be what is being called a, quote, catastrophic tanker failure. They're working to avoid this, but they're asking all residents in the area to evacuate. Last I had heard, they had already evacuated out to a mile as of last night. It may be that they let people back in the area. We discussed chlorine gas, how it interacts with gasoline. We believe it actually may need some other kind of catalyst in order to do that. We don't know. We didn't honestly expect to be revisiting the story so soon. But this is part of the evacuation notice here. So it looks like a number of people have had previously declined to evacuate, but they are now under orders and could be arrested if they fail to do so. One of the tankers is threatening to explode. We already saw a great deal of fire. This is chlorine gas. It's extraordinarily hazardous. Having said that, it seems like it's still on fire. It had been on fire for quite some time yesterday when we were covering it. We're covering it pretty late into the night. So that's happening, and Chile is having some of the worst forest fires they've ever had. We're going to cover that briefly. The biggest story I think we have right now is the earthquake that just struck in Turkey, 7.8 to 7.9, depending on who you listen to. Reuters is saying it's 7.9. It hit Turkey and was felt in Cyprus, Lebanon, Syria, Israel, and Jordan. There is a number of tall buildings in the province of Aleppo have collapsed. We're going to show you some of those. We also believe that there is a gas pipeline which has erupted and then subsequently exploded. Let's bring that up right now. This is that gas pipeline. This is somebody who was obviously scanning for it. And looks like there's two separate breaks. We have another one. It's obviously pretty spectacular. If we can zoom in, it's just because of the way the camera is going. I don't want to. Yeah. So that is a gas pipeline. We heard there was a fire and then an explosion. One of the big problems is a number of their buildings just, aren't as quake proofed as you would hope for something in that area. And in the United States, we have strict regulations regarding that. That's tougher in some of these countries to enforce. This, we believe, was an 8-story building. There currently are people trapped inside. And I'm going to get to the live chat in just a minute. Obviously, a lot going on. We were going live with this when the evacuation order came in for Palestine, Ohio. So there's a lot going on here. This is footage of people trying to get out of the area. People are fleeing their homes. Obviously, most of the buildings here are probably not sound. Let's see. I'm gonna put the sound on this one, and we will make that just a little bit bigger.
Avşar Otel, Kanal Tepat, AVM karşısına yıkıldı. Ah, Allah'ım seversen.
This is, I believe, Aleppo. Oh, the cars was from Iraq. Thank you, Alexander.
Fidanlık mahallesine Binevler noktanın arkasında bir bina göçmüş. Yaklaşık 10 kişi olduğu söyleniyor göçük altında. 112 merkeze ulaşamıyoruz. Buraya itfaiye ve AFAD ekipleri istiyoruz. Lütfen destek olalım.
Avşar Otel, Kanal Tepat, AVM karşısına yıkıldı. Ah, Allah'ım seversen.
All right. So, a lot going on. We're trying to cover that one. Again, thousands are believed dead. We have no way of estimating it. A number of large buildings have collapsed. This is very early on. We have some more footage we're going to show you in a minute, but quickly to get back to Palestine, Ohio. So it's, thank you, and Bregwin made the correction. So I guess it's vinyl chloride that they're worried about. There's a tanker filled with vinyl chloride. There's a temperature sensor in that tanker, and it is rising. Apparently, they are working very hard to attempt to keep it from detonating. If it detonates, it's going to let's see. It's going to turn into, I guess, 𝐓𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐴 𝐓𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐴. I'm not entirely sure what that is. Somebody's going to give me the correct pronunciation. I'm going to realize I do know it, I guess. It's apparently a toxic gas, colorless, has sort of a musty odor, and is very heavy. It's been used as a chemical weapon in trench warfare because it'll roll down hills and go into trenches. It is extremely toxic to it's a irritant to the lungs and kills people very quickly if it gets into your lungs. It was responsible for 85,000 deaths in World War I. It's a Schedule 3 banned weapon in the Chemical Weapons Convention. It obviously can be used as a chemical weapon, has been used as a chemical weapon, but it has legitimate purposes. It is an insecticide. It's used also, I guess, to kill rodents and other pests. So because it's got legitimate uses, you can have it and you can carry it across the country, but it's a chemical weapon as well. And they're afraid if this thing detonates, that's what it's going to make. They've made a mandatory evacuation order for 1 mile. At least 500 people are defying that order at this moment. So we will see if that thing explodes. I have no way of knowing how much damage we're looking at. I don't know enough about the gas. We'd need a genuine expert on that kind of gas and what happens if it detonates in that kind of area. What does it disperse like in the air? It's obviously open air. We also don't know the topology of the ground, so we don't know whether it's going to roll up or down or where it's headed. Very complex situation there unfolding in Palestine, Ohio. Meanwhile, going back to Turkey. So this is footage, and I think I'm going to let me zoom this one in a bit as well. This is footage of the earthquake, we believe, as it happened. Let's take a look. All right, that was footage. The earthquake. Let's see that one more time. I think that's probably the best we've got. We've got a few more, but we'll watch that one more time. I'll be honest, that really kind of feels like you're there. That's about as close as I ever want to be to something like that. All right. And if you're just joining us, we'll do a rundown in just a minute. Let's see. We're also going to put this one up. And once again, let me see if I can zoom in a bit. There we go. This was the one of people evacuating in Turkey. The other one was Iraq. Sorry for the confusion. Yeah, I think 𝐒𝐤𝐜𝐸𝐸 is the byproduct of the chemical reaction. All right, this is I'm going to be doing a lot of jumping back and forth. I'm going to show this one again, and then this was an 8-story building. It's also winter there right now. I don't know what the average temperature is for them at this time of night or this time of year, but I do know it's winter. And I've been informed that there's going to be complications as a result. I didn't see any snow where we live. It was negative 50 degrees with wind chill 2 days ago. So that's negative 50 Fahrenheit. If it's anything near that, they're going to have a very serious problem without shelter. We have this one as well. This is actually, it's a different building. This one, I believe, also was 8 stories. It doesn't quite look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like 5. Maybe no, I think it's 5. A number of residential areas have collapsed. It's absolutely catastrophic in the middle of the night. So, 2 major stories, and then we're going to touch on a third. The first is a 7.8 to 7.9 earthquake has struck in Turkey. It has done catastrophic damage. We've seen a lot of the damage already. We actually saw footage of the blackouts just rolling through the city as the earthquake struck. We'll probably show that one at least one more time. I think that's breathtaking. We're also, as we were preparing to go live with this, found out that a chemical that is actually a banned chemical weapon it can be a byproduct of vinyl chloride, which is in one of the tankers. We reported on this yesterday. More than 100 tankers derailed in Palestine, Ohio, and are caught on fire. They've been battling that fire for over a day now. It's a very serious situation there. They had already tried to get people to evacuate, but at least 500 people have refused to evacuate the 1 mile radius evacuation zone. Now there is a tanker of vinyl chloride. The temperature in that tanker is rising. They believe that a detonation is imminent. They are trying to prevent that detonation. If it goes off, it creates a chemical that was actually used in World War I, killed 85,000 people. It is a chemical weapon. We'll see. There are people still not following the evacuation order. So that's our second major story. This is that fire. It looks like a photo actually from last night. I don't know whether it's from last night or tonight. The fire's still burning. It looks like one of the ones. I don't think that's one of the ones we showed last night, but that's Palestine, Ohio, right there. Meanwhile, Chile is has had now more than 200 forest fires. A number of them are merging. They have one of the driest seasons they've ever had in history, and it has produced a fire the size of the state of Rhode Island. Chile is declaring a state of emergency as the fires are spreading. At least 25 people are known to be dead. That's going to be a continuing situation, obviously, in Chile. We'll be following all of these on our Discord. So if you haven't joined the Discord, you can join there. We've already been following these, especially the Palestine, Ohio one since last night. The Turkey one is breaking. I think we're going to be talking a lot about that on our Discord. I'm going to start wrapping it up, I think, soon. There's going to be information coming in throughout the night on what's going on in Turkey, unless there's something that we felt was imminent. There'd be no real reason to. Well, I'm going to expand this one a bit too. There's no reason to really stay on unless this is Chile. So that's the status. The big story, obviously, is Turkey. That's a catastrophic loss of life. As Andrew is saying, the hospital collapsed. Yeah. So that one's going to be days. That's going to be going on for. So it's been an evening. We also are going to have to stay on the Palestine, Ohio situation. It's threatening low density residential neighborhood. It's obviously not something we would want. They have time to evacuate. Looks like some are refusing to. Even if it detonates, I don't think we're looking at the same kind of catastrophic losses that we're seeing in Turkey. But we are going to follow it. It's still important. So that's what we're going to be watching this evening. Now I'm going to check on the live chat and see what you guys are talking about and what people who know a good deal more about some of these chemicals than I do are saying. And then I'm probably going to do one more rundown and then we will wrap it up. And this is your daily your hourly reminder to please like and subscribe. It really does help us. We're in the process of doing some of the rebranding, the changing and adding the second channel, splitting our content. I think we've discussed it with the patrons and the supporters. I think it's going to be very good for this channel, but part of what really helps this channel grow and survive is the likes and subscribes and becoming a member if that's something you're interested in, and sharing the content. If you have a friend that you know would be interested, share it with your friend. It's good for them, it's good for you, and it's good for us. Yeah, there's a lot going on. All right, so yeah, 7778. We don't quite know. It's amazing that there is quite a distinct difference between 77, 78, and 79. The Richter scale, as everybody knows. I'm not saying anything nobody knows. It's logarithmic. So, yeah, Chile has been undergoing a dry spell. This would be beautiful if it wouldn't be so terrifying. I just can't imagine what any of the people living here and seeing this are thinking. It's I've lived in California, and there are places in California where you see this kind of thing, 3 or 4 times in your lifetime, but it still isn't. It's awfully disconcerting. With this, it's a gorgeous picture. If it wasn't so absolutely catastrophic. All right, 3 minutes ago, a 5 magnitude in. Okay, so it looks like, well, and there was one. So I don't know if these are all tied to the similar earthquake. I don't know the region well enough to know how close that is, if that's considered an aftershock or if that's a separate earthquake. I mean, there are earthquakes going on throughout the earth all the time, so I don't want to just start to sit there and say, oh my God, another one, because you're going to get them. But it feels like these are related, so we'll keep an eye on it on the Discord and see what happens. Obviously, the entire region is suffering, and hopefully they can put some of their concerns with other countries on hold as they try to recover from this. Freezing rain for some in the earthquake. All right, so not good, but not absolutely terrible. It's if they're cautious and if they can find some place to shelter and as long as they have some kind of coverings, clothing, you can survive. All right, so we'll do one more rundown, and then I think we're gonna leave it at that. Gonna check and see if I've got anything else before we go. All right. Welcome to the rundown, ladies and gentlemen. We were preparing one story on a catastrophic earthquake in Turkey, and as we were about to go live with it, we found we got an update to a previous story we ran yesterday about a tanker truck filled with chlorine gas that derailed in Palestine, Ohio. Actually, it was 100+ tanker trucks that derailed, 70 of them on fire. That one was updated, and then we rolled in the fires in Chile. I'm going to put that aside for a minute because that's something that's going to be probably the most ongoing, at least in terms of continuing danger. In Turkey, a 7.7 or 7.8, and by one or two reports, 7.9. Reuters is reporting 7.8. Earthquake struck in Turkey a short time ago. There have been multiple building collapses. A number of buildings were, let's see, we've got at least one 8-story, no, we had several 8-story buildings that we know have collapsed. And we have people now evacuating and trying to flee the cities for obvious reasons. We are going to play footage of the fire. A gas line has been ruptured, and let's start with this one. So there's at least several fires from a ruptured gas line, a fire, then an explosion. That's insane. And then what we're going to play for you next is, this is the earthquake as it was happening. This was being recorded. You're going to see the power go out, and you're going to see the effects on the city. He does a very good job of panning through the city. So let's watch, and I'll turn the audio on so you can hear it, and we're going to watch and listen. All right, so that's what we have so far. The only mainstream media organization that I'm aware of that had this when we went live was Reuters. Obviously, they all know about it, and they'll be putting out information, so we're going to be learning more. But Reuters was the only one that had put out anything that I'm aware of so far. So we're going to keep an eye on it. It's going to be on our Discord. You can come on by, join us on the Discord, and we look forward to having a good week. We're going to do a rundown of all of the week's news. We're going to have on a downtime with Commander Lance McMillan and Operator Starsky once again, and a few other surprises we have planned. So I hope you will join us for all of that. Thank you all for coming, and we will see you, barring any... I said this last night. We'll see you the beginning of next week. And here we are. Keep your fingers crossed. Thank you. Good night.